Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Seafood at Your Fingertips. We're coming to you from the far western part of the Florida Panhandle in Escambia County. And we're going to be talking about today a very popular local fish and also a fish that has a strong connection to the Pensacola area. We're talking about the red snapper. Tonight, our chef is going to be SCS agent from Escambia County, Miss Dorothy Lee. And Dorothy, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Rick. This evening's recipe is red snapper Vera Cruz. Vera Cruz has quite a history. It was developed in an area in Mexico, and it is a simple, easy, quick meal. Lots of vegetables added to this fish dinner. It's one of those things that you could mix up and cook in about 45 minutes. You're ready. It's from kitchen to table in about 45 minutes. Let's get started on our red snapper Vera Cruz dish for this evening. One of the first things we're going to do, of course, is purchase some beautiful red snapper. These are fillets. I have done the recipe of a whole fish and also fillets, but it's quick and easy if you have the fillets. You can buy them at locally, and if they don't have the fillets, you can ask them to go ahead and fillet the fish for you. So the very first thing we're going to do is take a little bit of salt and sprinkle it over our fish fillets. I have 4 6-ounce fillets. Okay, so it serves anywhere from 4 to 6 people. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and you notice I'm just putting it on one side. I'm not turning the fish fillets and sprinkling the salt and pepper on both sides, just on the top side. Okay, and then the next thing, I've taken a 9x13 casserole dish, and I've oiled it with just a little bit of olive oil. We're cooking our dish at a lower temperature, so we don't have to worry about the olive oil burning, which usually does at high temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and put the fish in our casserole. Okay, and you can see how beautiful these fillets are. Just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, all right. Now we have all of our wonderful fillets in our dish, and now we're ready to add all the vegetables. You want to cut there? The next step on preparing our recipe is that we want to add some wonderful vegetables to our dish, and we're going to start also with a little bit of liquid. The fish will cook and have a little liquid in the bottom of the pan just because the nature of the fish itself, but sometimes that makes the dish be a little bit dry. So I have about 1/4 cup of chicken broth. The recipe calls for 1/4 cup of wine. If you don't have white wine in your cabinet, in your pantry at home, you can substitute chicken broth. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Remember, this is quick and easy. So we have the chicken broth, and I'm just going to pour it over our fillets, okay, and let them kind of soak up some of that wonderful, wonderful flavor from that. And then the next thing is we're going to add a variety of vegetables. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic, some jalapeno peppers. I have 1 jalapeno pepper chopped. Remember, when you are chopping peppers, that they have capsaicin, and they will definitely burn your fingers if you touch your face or whatever. It's the seed that's hot. So you might want to wear gloves during that time that you're preparing the peppers. If it does start to sting or burn your hands, or if maybe you're eating a jalapeno pepper and your tongue is burning, a little bit of milk will help with that. So I'm going to add a jalapeno pepper. I have some wonderful capers. I have 2 tablespoons of capers. We're going to sprinkle also over our fish. And olives give it a little bit of tang and a little bit of that acid there. And so I have some green olives. You could use the black olives if you prefer, or maybe even use the green and the black. That would give it a wonderful, wonderful color there. And you'll notice I did go ahead and chop them, and I left These were not whole olives. These were stuffed with the pimentos because I wanted some of that wonderful flavor from the pimentos with my dish. I have a small onion chopped here that we're going to add also to our dish, and almost all of this is just going to go into our casserole dish and then pop it in the oven. I have one more ingredient that I would like to share with you, and that's the tomatoes. Our recipe calls for 2 large tomatoes, unseeded tomatoes. So sometimes it's a little difficult in trying to work with tomatoes when you need to unseed them, but there is a trick that I want to share with you. The trick is take a regular spoon and you can just scoop all of that right out of the tomato. And as you can see, all the seeds are now gone and we are ready to chop our tomato. So how quick and easy is that? Just take your spoon and scoop right through the center of your tomato, and now you have a seeded tomato ready to chop. So I've already taken care of that. I also, before I started cutting my tomato, I washed my vegetables, all the vegetables, under cool tap water. No need to use any detergent soap or anything on the vegetables, just some cool tap water will do. And so I have seeded the tomatoes and chopped the tomatoes, and now we're ready to add them to our dish. So I'm putting the tomatoes, we're going to layer. Okay, some pretty color on over here on this. Okay, so that's our tomatoes and a little bit of the garlic. You can use minced garlic in oil if you like, or fresh garlic, and chop the garlic. Okay. Okay, and this is the one jalapeno that I chopped. We're going to kind of evenly distribute that over our fish fillets. And some wonderful capers that give them such that really good flavor there. A lot of good acid. Okay. All right. And then our olives is the next layer. Okay, and you see I'm trying to cover most of my fish so all this wonderful flavor will cook down into our fish as it bakes in our oven. And the last ingredient would be our onions. I'm going to put a little bit of those over the top. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. And the last ingredient is I want to sprinkle a little bit of olive oil over the top, and I think it's about 2 tablespoons, but I'm not going to measure because I love the container that I can use to kind of drizzle instead of putting it in a tablespoon. So I'm just going to drizzle just a little bit over the top of our red snapper Vera Cruz. Okay, now we are ready to pop our dish into the oven at 375 degrees, and it will take about anywhere from 45 to 50 minutes to bake. It depends, of course, on your oven. And as we know, there's a rule of thumb in cooking fish is we cook until we can flake it with a fork, and so that's what we're going to do today. And also, if it's a thick fish, about 10 minutes per inch. So now we're ready to put our dish in the oven. So our dish will cook about 45 to 50 minutes, and then we'll be ready to play.
Hey, well, while the snapper is baking, I wanted to talk a little bit about this really cool fish. It has a strong connection to Pensacola. Pensacola was known as the red snapper capital of the country back in the 19th century. The fishery itself goes all the way back to the 1840s. That was the earliest I could find of when the commercial fishery happened. They sailed out in very small sailing vessels called smacks, what they called snapper smacks, and they would leave out of Pensacola Bay, go out and harvest them off the banks, the Pensacola Bank, bring the fish back in. Now in those days, they were saying an average fish was around 10 pounds. So there were tons of red snapper out there, and they were really, really large. Well, obviously there was a big commercial market for these guys. They started sailing out of Destin Harbor and also of Mobile Bay out to the Pensacola banks to collect all the snapper. But as we put pressure on these things, obviously they had to go farther and farther offshore, and these smaller smacks just were not working for them. Now, one thing that changed, that really changed the game, two things actually: the availability of ice, so they could stay out longer. That helped. They could reach further rocks offshore, and also trains. The big market was actually New York City. A lot of the local snapper went all the way up there. But it really put Pensacola on the map in the commercial fishing world. It was the red snapper. By 1900, it was obvious there was some depletion. The numbers, the size, everything got smaller. The fishery was getting bigger. There were more fishermen on the water. So they were having to go further and further south. They found banks all along the Gulf Coast of Florida. They were fishing as far south as Collier County. But they also found rich snapper banks on the other side of the Gulf in the Bay of Campeche, which is where the animal gets its Latin name, Lutanus campiensis. So it's coming from the Campeche Bay, or the Campeche banks was another very popular place. When they invented motorized or gasoline-powered motors to get boats across the Gulf, that of course was a game changer for them as well. And so now this fishery was really on fire. And by World War II, again, it was pushing an overfished state for the stock. And after World War II, the popularity of recreational fishing and the huge boom in fiberglass boats put the recreational world into the picture. So now you had a big commercial harvest and a large recreational harvest on the same target species, and the numbers really, really went down. There is now, when you're looking at the fisheries management, what they've got is sort of what they call spawning potential, of what the spawning potential would be if there was no wild harvest of snapper at all. They've kind of set the line is that they would like to at least have 26% of that spawning potential available. And at the time they were looking at the management, they were only reaching about 2. So we were taking way too many fish off the banks. So they've been doing management plans since then, trying to get up to the 26% mark. Right now, they're right around 20%, but as many of you know who are watching this, it has been a very contentious thing. The recreational guy says it's the commercial guy. The commercial guy says it's the recreational guy. Everyone's blaming the feds. Everyone's blaming the state. They really want this target fish. They believe there's more fish out there than what the models are saying. But the fact of the matter is the science is saying that it is better. Right now in the Gulf of Mexico, they are stating it as a fishery stock that is not currently overfished, but is in a renewment plan. So the management that we're doing now will continue. And then, no, I forgot to add the charter captains. Of course, this is very popular with a lot of the tourists as well. So that is our fish. That is the red snapper. And I hope you enjoy this dish. It looks like it's going to be a really good one.
Time to check our fish. It's beautiful. Okay. All right, let's flake it. Oh, so pretty, nice and flaky, juicy, beautiful. See how it flakes so easy. Okay. All right. I cooked some Spanish rice. So this dish could be served with rice of your choice. Pasta would be a really good accompaniment with this particular dish. So we're going to put a little bit of rice, Spanish rice, in our plate, and then okay, get our hot pad. Okay, move our plate over a little bit and capture one of our beautiful, beautiful fillets with all the wonderful, wonderful vegetables, and put it on top. Okay, and get a little bit of the vegetables and a little bit of the juice that cooked out. Okay, all right. To add a little more flavor, a little bit of tomatoes that we cut up around our Vera Cruz. Okay, and I always like to add a little bit of lime. It gives it that little bit of tartness. So we put a little bit of lime juice on it, and so there we are. This dish is very nutritious. the rice, a lot of fiber, the fish, nutrients, and also all the wonderful vegetables. A quick and easy dish from kitchen to table.